2, 1.
I would like to wish you all a very warm welcome to the grand final of the Digital Campus Challenge 2020, today broadcasted from the lovely city of Leverkusen and from a room with a ball pit. And I'm not kidding. My name is Heiko Schomberg. I'm your host today. Everything on this planet is influenced by this pandemic. I will not use harsh words, including this final. It is usually the only analog part of this digital competition. We normally invite the winning teams per topic to our headquarters, and they amaze us in person with their great ideas. But as I said, this year is different. And I already missed the evening with the teams and the mentors at the Malzmühle Cologne, where people could be introduced to the analog advantages of Kölsch. The agenda, not only for today, innovation is more than digitalization, but somehow they're Siamese twins. So we asked students from universities all over the world, what effects do you think all these digital technologies will have? And how can they be leveraged in healthcare and digital solutions to improve people's life? We wanted to hear what you think. And you guys gave really, really good answers. A big virtual hand for them all. We could hardly wait for the 4 teams, the 4 tops, to join us here today to give an answer to the crucial question, what will Bayer look like in 2032? The 4 teams here will present opportunities to harness the strength of digital technologies and live our mission, health for all, hunger for none. Last year, the DCC19 increased my knowledge about data science and cloud computing dramatically. But I'm still keen how deep and machine learning helps to make the life of people and plants better, and how digital therapeutics encourages patients. We invited, together with our partner Agerise from Paris, France, IT and digital talents from all over the world, taking a look at 4 exciting and highly topical questions. This year's topics were machine and deep learning and data science, an evergreen, cloud computing and IT security, and digital therapeutics. The response was really amazing and as breathtaking as the crowd sitting in front and behind the computers and cameras today. Here are just a few figures after the end of the deadline. We had 1,223 participants in 577 teams with 166 submissions coming from 81 countries. What makes me so proud this year? More students than ever before participated. And after the voting phase, we invited Destu from India for machine and deep learning, the Chemometrics from Brazil for data science, NextSense from Canada and China for digital therapeutics, and MediFinder, the Netherlands, Austria, and Bulgaria for cloud computing and IT security. The teams have 20 minutes to pitch their project. Afterward, they answer the questions of the mentors and yours in the live stream for a maximum of 10 minutes, because you can also ask questions in the live stream and we collect them for the mentors. Innovation is part of Bayer's DNA and is of key importance. So I'm very happy that Bijoy Zagar, our CIO and CDO, is able to join us for the final pitches, giving the keynote. Thanks a lot, Bijoy. In a moment, he will say a few words of welcome to the candidates and give you a good expression about digital innovation with purpose here at Bayer. Hold on, we have also a short video message from Charmaine, who won the challenge last year together with D-Food Singapore.
Hi, DCC 2020 finalists. I'm Charmaine from the winning team of DCC 2019. We wish you all the best in your competition, and who knows, we may even meet each other on the winning trip to Berlin.
The 4 teams presenting their vision of the future today have been selected from a pool of brilliant candidates and tremendous teams by our esteemed panel of judges from Bayer departments. And a short, brief personal remark. There are a billion reasons why Corona annoys us incredibly. The 1 billion and first reason is sending parcels. I learned a lot about custom declarations. I also understood 3 weeks are not enough time to order and ship goodies to the candidates all over the globe. And some custom regulations are really, how to say it in a diplomatic way, interesting. Dear teams, but with or without Bayer giveaways arrived in time, every single one of you here today is a winner. But at the end of the day, only one team will have made it onto the virtual podium. And the number 1 of 577 teams will win a superb trip to a city with B in hopefully late summer of 2021. I would like to say a big thank you to the more than 40 judges and also the 5 mentors who have prepared the 4 teams for this event today, broadcasted all over the world. Thanks for running the extra mile in windy and really special times. All mentors are experienced Bayer employees who have clarified technical questions, acted as sparring partners to bounce ideas off, and prepared the teams for the final pitch. And last but not least, if you like to tweet, Instagram, or post on LinkedIn about the final pitches, please use the hashtag DCC20. Let's bring it to trending topic. Spread the word. And now, thanks for your patience, BJoy. We have prepared the digital stage for you and look forward to your inspiring impulse. You got the floor, BJoy. Tell us what's today.
Thank you, Heiko. So good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to all the participants. So before I start, I want to say how thrilled I am to be able to join you, at least virtually, in the Digital Challenge, Campus Challenge 2020. And I wish everybody here all the best, and obviously in the competition, and congratulations for the participation. I think it is heartwarming for me to see that innovation and digital mindset is alive and well and thriving even in the middle of these circumstances around the pandemic. In fact, I would go one step further and say that to some degree, this COVID situation has been a great test for how we are able to scale with these digital opportunities in front of us. Just imagine 5 years ago, if this pandemic was there, we would not have been able to work the way we are working today. These technologies were not scaled 5 years ago. So the fact that we have largely been able to continue working and continue innovating and continue collaborating itself is a testament to where we have come in the digital world. And that's why I titled this presentation, Tomorrow is Today. Because a lot of time we talk about digital, people talk about it as if it is something that's going to happen tomorrow. But guess what? In 2021, that tomorrow has already arrived. And all the challenges and opportunities ahead of us are here. And we may not solve all of them this year or next year. But if we don't plan and prepare for it now, it would be too late. So therefore, I'm really excited to see all the ideas that the teams are bringing forward and how that is going to change the world. Next slide, please. I'm not able to change the slides. Perfect. Oop. Very good. So almost all the technologies we call digital are at least 50 years old. They're not new. So what has changed now is the ability to scale these technologies with the power of computing that we have to solve real problems. We at Bayer, every single employee, comes to work energized by our purpose, which is health for all, hunger for none. And I am personally motivated and energized by it. So that's why I call digital is about purpose. It's not about technology. It is really about using the technologies to solve real world problems for all of us. Whether it is about helping people live healthier lives, detecting diseases early and helping people recover from them and thrive, or to afford food security for the whole world, depending on the necessities, specialties, and uniqueness that each person possesses. That is the challenge we can really address with digital. And digital is also about sustainability, because the resources in our planet are not going to expand forever. Our resources are going to be somewhat constrained by what this planet can offer. So digital is really about helping us use these resources wisely, whether it's through precision farming or precision medicine or any other number of topics that we are engaged in, and driving for good results using these intelligently, while providing a great outcome for whether it's the farmer or the consumer or the doctor or the patient. That, I think, is the challenge of digital in front of us. And I couldn't be more excited about both these topics, the sustainability part as well as the purpose part. Now, we think artificial intelligence is all around us. I don't believe so. I think we are just getting started. So when you talk about deep learning and we talk about cloud and data science in front of us, the future is going to be where these things are going to be ubiquitous, with 5G coming to scale, with edge computing becoming a reality, and with algorithms being able to be embedded in sensors all around us. We are going to truly harness the power of AI tomorrow. So whatever you have seen today is just the beginning of that journey. What that means is we are going to be able to detect patterns we can't detect today, so we can actually help. For example, in our case in Bayer, whether it is to help detect diseases faster through radiology, or to treat cancer patients better through targeted and precision therapies, or to identifying the right group of patients for clinical trials, we can use the power of AI to drive consequential decisions in health. The same with identifying the right nutrients and vitamins for our consumers in healthcare, but crop science colleagues to help identify carbon capture methods and new commercial models where the farmers can precisely use these approaches to improve yield sustainably. It's going to be all around us. But unfortunately, and I don't need to say this to most of you, we also have to then become responsible about using AI ethically. As AI spreads around the world and AI is everywhere, we also have to be mindful on how we use this ethically, respectfully, by also respecting the wishes of those whose data is absolutely necessary to drive this change. And we at Bayer are absolutely committed to doing this and would love to participate with everybody in solving this problem in the right way. So for digital health, my tagline is fix our bodies before they break. With these approaches, we are now able to detect diseases earlier and earlier. But tomorrow, we would be able to detect it by knowing your specific gene sequences. And you can actually detect when you are likely to have that disease. Help patients then pick therapies that would work specifically for them, and then help them adhere to the right therapies that work for that patient group. And we are doing a lot of it today. We are planning for that tomorrow, but we are only getting started in Bayer. And we are also only getting started in agriculture. Our potential is enormous. There is a tremendous amount of work in the precision farming that I just talked about. And sustainable farming. And there is a tremendous amount of work we have done and shown our commitment through our acquisition of Climate Corp and all the data that we need to help the farmers make the right decisions. And we need further advances in deep learning and all the other technologies to really help us drive this even further. In 1906, when automobiles came to the world, automobiles changed the speed of movement. Before automobiles, our motion was limited by how much a horse could travel per day. We have really changed the speed of the world when automobile came to the picture. Nothing else really changed. Everything else changed as a result of the speed at which we could move. After that, airplanes and radio and internet revolution all changed the speed. With digital revolution, now we are moving at the thought speed. We can now connect these ideas and patterns we could not connect before, and we can create inferences that we could not see before. And to me, that is the real potential and gift of digital. What that also means is, and I say this to all of the participants and everybody else, we have to be risk tolerant because we don't know the answers to many of these problems, and it will take several iterations before we get it right. And digital only works if we are able to be risk tolerant. So Bayer obviously thinks bold. The fact that we are doing it today and the fact that we are challenging all of you is clearly an expression of how we think bold and into the future. But we are very mindful that we are solving the challenges of the present today. Everything that we have in our pipeline, every activity we are doing today is to solve those challenges of our customers, patients, farmers, consumers that they are facing today. And I think that's where I'm really excited to see a lot of the submissions, because we have to be grounded in reality to see that we are applying these solutions to the right problem. So I'm super excited about that opportunity. And with that, I would say the only game that we can play in the future is the game we are playing today, which is collaboration. And collaboration will win the day. Not any group, any one company, any one person can solve these problems. We have to come together, which is one of the reasons why Bayer invests quite heavily in startup ecosystems. We look at collaborations with digital natives in Silicon Valley and other places. We look for talents and startup ecosystems around the world. And we have life hubs around the world to encourage these collaborations. And we just opened one in Brazil just a week ago. And so our commitment continues even through COVID. And I think that is one thing that we could all learn from this experience, is that we must continue to collaborate. And finally, my last parting thought here is that the jobs of tomorrow have not been invented yet. Whether we are talking about cybersecurity or data science or cloud, these things are going to make us do things very differently tomorrow. We will move from a cybersecurity of what's visible to cybersecurity of pattern recognition in a highly capable way. All these things are going to afford us careers that we cannot even think about today. The skills we acquire today will obviously serve us really well, but remember that tomorrow is here and the opportunity is only beginning. So I wish everybody all the best, and I'm very excited for the winner. Thank you very much.
So thanks a lot, Bijoy. Really impressive words. I'm nearly became goosebumps, because 5 years ago, as I joined Bayer, most of them, what you mentioned, was science fiction to me. And now it's what you said, tomorrow is today. Thanks a lot. And we're good in time, so I have the possibility to say thank you before we start with Destu. I would like to thank the team here in Leverkusen, behind this wall, Susan and Camilla, who will collect your questions and comments here in the live stream. Male, who is leading the voting. we will provide you with the voting code while this live stream. And last but not least, you can see him, hopefully, my wingman, and the humanoid teleprompter, Christopher, who is doing all the technology here on site. Thank you very much, guys. You're tremendous. Great. And now, if you are prepared, it's up to you. Give us a sign, Destu. We are 8 minutes before the scheduled time. If you feel good, if Suhail is able to start with his presentation, give me a sign. Then we can start earlier. But you have to judge it.
Yes, we could go ahead.
Okay. So then I think, thank you very much, Destu, for machine and deep learning. It's a pleasure to have you here on the live stream. Christopher will guide you through this, and good luck to you. So I think it was my fault. We was too fast for the scheduled date. Funktioniert?
So please, guys, go ahead with the presentation.
You see, this is live. That's not a conserve. We not recorded it before. The stage is yours, and now we go. Great. DHAI.
Shall I begin?
Yes, you can. Sure. Once again,
a very
the stage
warm.
is yours.
Okay, thank you. A very warm welcome to everyone. We are Team Destu, and we are very excited to share our big idea, that is TAI, depression handling through artificial intelligence. But first of all, I would like to thank Bear for giving us this opportunity to share our big idea, and our mentors for their continuous support. Next slide. So I would like to quickly introduce our team first. I am Suhail Shangari from ESCP Business School and Management Development Institute in India. And my teammate is Vishal Jha. He's from Ford School of Management in India. So now I would like to tell you how did we think about this idea? What was our starting point? One day I was browsing through different social media platforms on my smartphone, and there I was seeing some posts, and those posts were related to some of the people losing their jobs. So I felt, how would they feel? Can you imagine? They were sad, they were worried, they were tensed, and I thought some of them might even be depressed. So what was the main reason behind that? The COVID-19 pandemic. So I guess you all will be able to relate to this. You might have also seen similar kind of posts. So I asked my teammate Vishal, could we find a solution from a smartphone that would help detect depression for these people? But first, I would like you all to meet our fictional character, that is Darth Vader. I hope you are not confusing him with the famous movie character. So he's Vader, but without a lightsaber. So a Darth Vader character has been facing from some symptoms that are related to depression. He's anxious at times, he's sometimes angry, frustrated, intolerant towards people, and he's having sleepless nights sometimes. He is suffering from some kind of insomnia. And guess what is his best friend, companion? It's his smartphone. Every day, he spends about 2 to 3 hours looking at his smartphone. So, our basic goal is to transform him from being depressed to being normal and happy again. And our solution is designed in such a way that he won't even know that we have touched his life and helped him. But this is not the problem only for Darth Vader. It's the problem faced by entire world. It's estimated that more than 300 million people are suffering from depression, and that is about 4.4% of the population. But not only that, what's more serious is that about 1.7 billion people face mental health related issues. These could be anxiety, stress, bipolar disorders, and many more such diseases. And if we see, it would come around 1 out of every 4 people is suffering. And it is also the case that 2% of the people who are undergoing depression might also commit suicide. So if 300 million people are suffering, then it's almost about 6 million. And that's a very big number. So it's very urgent to solve this problem. And people of all ages are at risk. People, those who have gone through unemployment or are in a bad relationship or might consume drugs or alcohol are at a high risk. And of course, COVID-19 pandemic has heightened the problem. A survey was conducted at the UK, and about 40% of the respondents reported that they are now worried about their mental health. But what's the problem? Most of the people are not aware that they might be suffering through depression. Depression is curable, medications are available, but as I said, since people do not know, they do not consult a doctor, and this could lead to severe cases. And the technology is being used rapidly these days, digital is rising, and hence we believe that we could leverage that and help find a solution for depression. So continuing, our solution is to build a facial recognition and a pattern recognition system that will analyze the image at different instances of a person through the smartphone. The system will give a specific score to the individual based on the emotions that are depicted at that instance. And if a score is crossed a benchmark score, we will have a benchmark score that will decide if a person is suffering from depression or not. And if that score is crossed, the user would be notified that he could be suffering from depression. So for training the model, we would be using a supervised learning artificial intelligence model. Different kind of facial images would be fed into the algorithm, comprising of both the normal faces and the faces involving depressed individuals. And we'll be calculating a benchmark score based on that. And as I said, if the score is crossed, we'll be giving the result. So I have showed some reference data regarding the training data. The images would comprise of happy expressions, contempt expressions, disgusted impressions, and many much such attributes would be there. So there are different facial attributes that we would be analyzing. The first one is forehead. So the forehead lines for individuals could be different, and that would be an important aspect to study for us. Coming up next are the eyes. So eyes say a lot of things about an individual. We all are aware of that. And similarly, we'll be reading this to analyze the data further, especially the area on the tip of the eyes, the area below the eyes. That will be very beneficial for our health. Next comes the nose. That will be really helpful attribute. And then the lips, especially the tips, the sides of the lips, will be needing that data to analyze. And the chin area. And finally, the cheeks and the entire face. So individual score would be given to all these attributes, and a cumulative score will be calculated to find a benchmark score. So where will this system be integrated? We are planning to integrate the system with the current smartphones that we have. Smartphones have become smarter these days, and they are really helpful. For example, they help to keep track of the fitness data that we have. Just for example, today I walked 2000 steps. So they keep track of those things. Then coming up next are the calories. They see how much calories I have consumed in a particular day and how many calories I have lost. They keep monitor of the heartbeats, and they even recommend that if the heartbeats are abnormal, I could go and show myself to a doctor. And they also are detecting the noise levels. The noise I am receiving in my ears, is it good for my health or no? So our working model will be that the user is looking to his or her smartphone, and the smartphone is looking back to him or her. And the pattern and the image recognition system is working side by side, analyzing the images at different instances at a particular day. These instances would be random. The reason is, just suppose if I am depressed on the inside, and if I go to meet someone, I could show some happy expressions on the outside. But in reality, that wouldn't be the case. So that's why we'll be capturing the images at random intervals. And finally, if the benchmark score is reached, the user will be notified. Not only him, but additionally, his relatives or emergency contacts comprising of friends and family would also be notified so that urgent help could be provided to the person. So our fictional character, Mr. Darth Vader, is back. So he'll help you to explain the solution. So he just bought a smartphone that had our system integrated in it. On the first day, our system captured that he is furious at times, he's stressed related to various things, he's frustrated, and he's also undergoing some tension. On the second day also, some similar symptoms are found. He's unable to relax, he's feeling sad, he's worried about different things, and he's undergoing some unstable conditions. The next, and the process is continuous over a period of days. He's facing similar symptoms. And on the seventh day as well, he's sleepless, he's upset related to different things, he's distressed, and it could be concluded he's some kind of depressed. So over a period of days, the score will increase, and hence it would cross the benchmark score. And hence, Darth Vader would be notified that he might be undergoing through depression. And he would given a report that would comprise of all the things that he's facing, the symptoms, why he might be depressed, and all the specific details related to him. But our solution does have some potential challenges as well. We have identified those. The first one is accuracy. Since our system is related to medical health, it is very, very important for us that our solution is highly accurate and it satisfies the medical grade. Next comes the compliances and regulations. Since we'll be analyzing the facial features of the person and each country could have their own rules and set of laws, we'll need to abide and comply with those. And to train the model, extensive data would be required since each person could have different facial attributes. And we all know that people, like I am from India and a person from USA, definitely he would have different facial features. So we would need to analyze those and hence would require a global set of data. Finally, privacy. So privacy is a cause of concern. We are dealing with facial images that are termed as sensitive personal information in the medical terms. So hence we'll need to take care of that, and it is of utmost importance to us. So we do have an improvised solution as well. So this was the first part, and these are the things that we will be implementing at a later stage after building a basic first model. So the next model will comprise to monitor the sleep patterns as well. Smartphones can keep track of the screen time that you are spending in a specific day. How much time do you touch your phone at the nights? So based on that, we will be able to monitor the sleep patterns. And for a depressed person, the sleep could reduce. The next would be monitoring of physical activity. Physical activity could change for a person who is undergoing depression or is mentally unhealthy. So, and that data would be important for us to analyze. And monitoring of eating habits. As I mentioned earlier, the phone could capture the calories that you have consumed on a day or lost. So that would be important, measuring the change in the calories count. And finally, we would be taking an assessment if a person is found to be depressed, that I'll be explaining further. So there was a research that was carried out. The research reported that the person who might be undergoing depression have problems to recognize moods and behaviors of people around them. So for a normal person, I could easily guess that the person in front of me is happy or feeling sad or is angry. But a depressed person might not know that until and unless the intensity of that emotion is high. So we'll be taking an assessment that would comprise of different facial features that will be shown to a depressed person, and he'll need to guess that what is the emotion being displayed in the person. And the assessment would comprise of both full and cut images, so it is so the evaluation could be done properly. So just for example, in the first image, normal person would be able to know that the mood of the person is happy, but for a depressed person, he might not be able to guess it correctly. Whereas for the second image, both the normal person and the depressed person will be able to guess that the person is feeling happy. Reason being, the intensity of image is high in this case. So we do have an improvised working model. So user is looking at his smartphone and the image and the pattern recognition system is working. And also the other monitoring systems like sleep pattern monitoring, calories monitoring, and fitness activity monitoring are also working in parallel. And a new benchmark score would be calculated. And if it's crossed, the notification would be sent that the person has to give an assessment. And as I said, the assessment would comprise of moods and behaviors of persons, and he would need to guess them what the emotions are depicting. And finally, if the results are positive or maybe negative, the person would be given a comprehensive report consisting of all the details, and that report could be shared with the doctor as well. So Mr. Darth Vader is back again. So he has been using our improvised system, and he now has to give an assessment. And so you would see in the first image, he sees this kind of an image, and he needs to guess. If he guesses it correctly, so the person appears to be angry. And the next image, just for example, is this. He would be shown this kind of an image, and he will need to identify what emotion is person facing. Here the person is happy, and this image would be difficult for him to guess because of the low intensity of the smile. The next image would be this, and the person is shocked actually. So he might or might not be able to guess that correctly. And this is the last image. So here the person is normal. So if he's able to guess all of these, so it could be concluded that he is okay, fine, normal. But if he's not able to guess them correctly, it would be advised that he should show himself to a doctor urgently. So what is the impact that our solution will have? It is the most important part since we are doing something for the people. So as I said, 340 million people are suffering from depression, and out of these, 60% of them are women. And we only have 702,000 mental health workers in the world. And that is one for every 11,100 people. And that is very, very less. And the per capita spending on mental health care is about $50. And that is just for high income countries. For low income ones, it could go as low as $2 or even less. And most of this spending is being done in the mental health care, and it's only basically for curing purposes, and less money is being spent on detection. So there is a very, very, very big gap there, and we need to do something about it. So we have designed our product for insurance companies. The main reason was to reach as much people as we could. So, for example, most European nations do have some kind of a universal healthcare, and for other countries as well, there are some private insurance companies and schemes supported by the government. Then 70% of the health insurance companies are using applications. So we believe that would be our correct target. And the problem is those applications, the major of the health apps that are already present, they are a health management system kind of thing. As I said, there are fitness apps, calories apps, etc. But there is no app that could detect your problem. So this would be something new. So how we will be impacting the economy? So taking the average of the per capita spending, it comes out to be $26. So this application, as per us, would reduce the cost about 30%. So it will bring down the cost to about $17 per capita, the average cost. Most of the cost would be reduced in detection, and it would be saving about 30% of the money. That is about $3.06 billion, considering 340 million people are suffering from the problem in a year. So there is 7.8 billion population in the world as of now, and at least 35% of them are insured. So that comes out to be 2.73 billion. And we are a bit optimistic, and we want to reach about 10% of the people in the first year after developing our system. So that is 270 million. And if we charge the insurance companies about $1 per user per year, so the amount will come out to be $270 million for the first year. And this amount could vary depending on the cost we incur or the charges that we ask the insurance companies to pay, and that could differ based on how we proceed further in our model. So coming to our scope, we believe that our solution is scalable to detect other mental health issues as well. Like, for example, I mentioned there could be issues related to anxiety, stress, bipolar disorders. So this could be further developed to detect those diseases as well. And I believe it's an innovative solution. It's a first kind of system in the smartphone that is being developed to detect a disease, and especially a mental health problem. And then it will help to the doctors to have a second opinion. Sometimes a doctor or a mental health specialist might be in a doubt, so he could consult the report that we are providing and have a second opinion. And finally, it will help to bridge the gap between the patients and doctors. As I said earlier, the people are not aware that they might be suffering from depression. So the system will be giving a notification to the person who is suffering, and definitely he would most likely go and visit a doctor. So it will be bridging the gap. So why us? What are our USPs? So we believe we are talented young leaders, and we have a strong will to achieve our goals with passion. And we have a strong background in problem solving. We understand the society's problem these days, and we have the will to solve those. And we have a competitive advantage. So we believe it's one of a kind expert system that is being developed on the mobile application platforms. So, and it is unique, and as per our knowledge, no similar system exists. And finally, we believe that life is a gift to us. We should nurture it, preserve it, and help the people in our society. So finally, I would like to conclude the presentation of my idea by saying that this is just not an app or a system, but it's a simple solution to a complex problem that we are facing these days. And yes, so that's it. And we are Team Days 2. We stand for detection, empowerment, society, technology, all these things for you. So thank you, and we are open to any questions that you might be having.
Yeah, thank you very much, Team Destu. That was a great and brilliant beginning. was really impressive. And just to clarify and to point it out, questions in the live stream, in the comments, will be forwarded by our team to the mentors. And now I give the word to the mentor of Destu. It's Dr. Ulf Hengstmann, and he will give them the first question and will be the spokesman for the others collected in the live stream. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Heiko, for the warm introduction, and I also spend a word on that. I'm really honored to support Destu as a mentor, and I got the honor to pose the first questions to them. But first, I would like to thank you, Suhal and Vishal, the team Destu, for your great presentation and for sharing your idea with us. So let me take the first question to give it a start. So I really like your idea. It empowers the customer, the people, and give them the possibility to really do something to stay healthy. And I would really love to see your idea implemented. So could you spend some brief words on the status of your idea? Is it an asterisk in the idea phase, or did you already tested parts of it, or maybe implemented it and I can use it and download it, what I would love. So could you spend some words on that?
Sure. I'll be happy to answer that question. So right now, it's more than an idea. So we have already built a basic system for that. So we use the online libraries that were available. Right now, we are able to detect 4 kind of expressions for the people. Those comprise of happiness or joy, then being angry. The third one is being sad, and the fourth one is being surprised or shocked. So we have been successful in analyzing those. Additionally, we have also been successful to give a score to them, and if same images fed like showing the same expression of sadness twice, so that means the score would increase. The person is depressed, so that is also working right now. But the challenge that we are facing currently is the lack of data. So as I said, we would require extensive data. Global set of data would be required to train the model. So that's one of the primary issues we are facing right now. And we also try to approach and consult some of the doctors that how could we go about it. But again, COVID-19 pandemic restricted our approach. But in the following days, we would be going further and trying to gather as much data as possible. And if you would like to see, or anyone who is watching the stream, if he or she wants to see our idea, so he could connect with us and we'll be happy to showcase that idea as of now.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. And I hope lots of people will reach out to you and maybe you also get some new connections, and maybe an investor is in there and offers you some money. We'd love that. Okay, so we're getting more questions on the chat now, and I will scroll through them and then pose you the questions. So the next question here in the chat is, what about data privacy? So I think behind that question is like you really show lots of your personality there. And did you thought about data privacy, and what do you do to, let's say, take care of the data privacy of your future customers?
Sure. That's a very good question indeed. And actually, as I mentioned in the presentation, that be a potential challenge for us. So what we have decided to keep care of the privacy issue is that we'll not be storing the images of the person in the smartphone or the application. We'll just be storing the score. So the most important aspect is the score part, because based on that only, we'll be finding out if the person is undergoing depression or any other mental health problem. So the images won't be stored in the phone, and hence if any person tries to breach the privacy, so that won't be an issue. And as I said, only score would be there. So we'll be keeping care of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, thank you. So another thing is like, as you said, like the people who are facing depressions are very often not knowing that they are in this area. So do you have any ideas to, let's say, motivate them to use that application? And second would be, do you think of something like rewarding technology so that they got adherence and stick with the application, like a gamification approach? Could you also spend a word on that?
Okay. For the first part, like in order to that the users, as you said, the users might not be aware, and that's a very big problem. So that's why specifically we targeted insurance companies. So these days, insurance companies are also going to diagnosis part, and if and many people are covered under insurances. So when it could be a prerequisite from the insurance companies that you need to have an app, and this system would be running in the background, so the person won't even know that this is happening with him. But since you said gamification is important, and keeping the users engaged is also important, so we could think of some ideas on that as well. Maybe like notifying them that you were this happy this day, you did really well on this specific day, be like that, stay motivated. So that is what I'm thinking of right now. But further on, we would be developing this further.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Another question, and that's an interesting one also. Does the app also recognize part-time diseases like a stroke, fever, or brain attacks? So means that might be the face expressions might be the same or comparable.
Honestly, like right now, we have not thought of that to diagnose the other diseases like strokes or something more. We were right now focusing on depression, and then making the solution for other mental health problems, as I said, like stress and anxiety. But this is a very good point, and we'll research more on that if we could take this further and analyze such type of diseases as well. So thank you for this suggestion.
So yeah, I got a notification. My computer is doing some pings here, so sorry for that. Somehow I had to close that in a second. So give me a second to maybe look for a last question, because now we're running out of time. So the question is, so I read that emotion recognition differences are not significantly different in a mild and moderate depression, only in severe. How will you circumvent this?
Sure. So, like, first of all, I would like to mention two things. Some might think that being sad could also be a depression kind of thing, but that's not actually the case. It's perfectly being normal. But a person who is depressed, like medically depressed, that person could have different attributes. That's why I mentioned we'll be analyzing the attributes that are related to the tips of the eyes, tips of the lips, and the area below the eyes. So those points are of specific interest to us, and we'll be taking images, like we'll be consulting doctors and taking the images of a normal person that could be sad as well, and a person who is depressed, in order to differentiate and train our model accurately. Maybe like, is it clear, or I could tell it further?
I think, at least to me, it's clear. So yeah, I got a sign from my team, from Heiko here, that we're now running out of time. So thank you for your explanations, Suchal and Vishal, and thank you, Team Destu, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And thanks for your answers. And maybe some last words before I hand back to Heiko.
Yes. thank you. And even if someone has any questions, I and Vishal would be happy to answer those. Maybe after you could connect with us on LinkedIn. So we'll be happy to answer those. And yes, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, and apologize for my ping in between to the audience. And with that having said, I would like to hand over back to Heiko, who will guide us through the next presentations. And I can promise you there are really nice presentations in front of us. So Heiko, it's your stage again.
Thanks very much, Ulf. I can provide you with a pong, then we have a ping pong. So that was the funny part of this presentation. Thanks a lot, Team Desku. It was brilliant. Now, for those who joined this live stream later, just to clarify, the teams here in the final pitch, 4 teams selected out of 577, have 20 minutes of pitching time, presenting their incredible, great projects. And after that, there's a time period of round about 10 minutes where you can ask questions as well. This means the mentors are the spokesman of your question that we are collecting in the live stream on LinkedIn and some comments on YouTube live stream as well. But I don't want to incredibly bore you with organization. So we want to go to the next great team from Brazil, the Chemometrics. Hopefully is prepared. I have a look on my wingman. He gave me a thumb. So that's the time for me to mute myself. And
so let's start.
Hello everyone and welcome. We're very happy to present to you in the Digital Camp Challenge this year our newest achievement, which is Iracema, the next generation of breast cancer screening. So just for curiosity, Iracema is a name with a great significance here in Brazil because it represents our oranges, it makes reference to a great work of our literature, and also refers to interface for breast cancer in screening in Portuguese. So first of all, I would like to introduce our team, the Chemometrics, which is composed by May Ingrid, the Planning Development Manager.
Hi guys, I'm João, the Relationship Manager.
And I am Raíssa, the Information Manager.
We are all graduate students in chemistry at Federal University of Rio Grande do Norte, located in Natal, Brazil, and we also work together in the Biological Chemistry and Chemometrics Research Group. Well, we all know that breast cancer is a major global problem and is the most common type of cancer among women worldwide. Here are some statistics on the incidence of breast cancer cases. In 2018, there were more than 2 million cases all over the world, and according to the World Health Organization, there are almost 1,400,000 cases and 460,000 deaths per year. Thus, a quick and early detection is the key, so that 1 in 3 new cases can be cured if discovered at an early stage. And with that, its mortality can be reduced through screening programs. Mammography is the recommended method for breast cancer screening routine worldwide, which is basically an X-ray examination in the breast region, and it can be used for checking breast cancer-like lesions by finding nodules or calcifications. But we have several problems in its detection, such as being invasive and painful. Many women do not want to do the exam or do not feel comfortable because it is a sort of a great discomfort. It presents a slow diagnosis, Its execution takes around 30 to 40 minutes and still goes through the doctor's analysis. This whole process can take months. The ionizing radiation, we know that if used frequently, it can lead to the development of cancer itself. The high cost, its inaccessibility for women with some physical disabilities. And finally, we are more likely to experience human error. Do you think that from this image, it would be easy to visualize and say for sure if the patient has an indication for cancer? Imagine a doctor analyzing thousands of images like this one. So faced with all these problems, what if I tell you that we can change this reality? These are our general ideas. In data science, we use the data generated by attenuated total reflection, Fourier transformed infrared biospectroscopy, and multivariate supervised classification as a new technology to create a basic breast cancer screening program, and combine it with a graphical user interface, creating Iracema. That will be used as a computational tool to detect breast cancer quickly, accurately, and economically. And it's worth mentioning that we do not intend to replace the gold standard, but to present an alternative method and facilitate the breast cancer detection.
So now I would like to talk about our trajectory. We have started in 2017, where we did the first planning about the project and started collecting blood samples in a joint work with an institution that has been gaining international recognition, named Liga contra o Câncer, which has had papers published in the New England Journal of Medicine, known as the world's leading medical journal. In 2018, we completed the blood samples collection process and performed the spectrochemical analysis with radiation in the infrared region using the ATR-FTIR equipment. To perform this analysis, we need only 30 microliters of blood plasma, and you just need 5 minutes to analyze each sample. So here is the reason why we choose this equipment. It's a simple and low-cost technique that allows a rapid and accurate analysis of sample, even with so little sample volume. However, this technique generates a large amount of data. Therefore, here in 2019, we have the data processing through supervised classification using algorithms such as PCA, SPA, and GA. The goal here is to mine this data, and all of that was done in the MATLAB environment, a great software for handling extensive data arrays. So that in this year, 2020, we wrote and published a paper in Scientific Reports, an amazing journal of this area. We also create the graphical user interface in order to facilitate the implementation of our method at the clinical everyday life. And in next year, in 2021, we will do the validation of the alternative model. In summary, the experimental part of our project was executed as follows. The first step was the sample collection, using liquid biopsy and the form of the blood plasma samples collected from 476 patients recruited. This number is very significant because a sample calculation was performed based on our city population value. The next step was to centrifuge the material to obtain only the blood plasma. Then we performed the analysis of this blood plasma in the ATR-FTIR machine. And the step 4, we do the data processing where we build the final statistical model using supervised classification. And then we got our answers and we are able to choose the best model. So here, briefly, in the image on the left, we have the absorbance spectra of each analyzed group, generated by the excitation by infrared radiation. Here in the middle one, we have the separation achieved between the two groups, the cancer group and the healthy group. And this table represents the numerical results of each model we built, where we reach an accuracy of 93% with the best chosen model, the ASPA SVM. If you are interested to know a little more about this work, you can access it online and for free. You just need to look for that title located here at the bottom of this page.
In summary, the interface has a great visual based on the color that symbolizes breast cancer, low cost, and intuitive design. With just 2 clicks, the result is already visualized. It is statistically reliable. It gives us a quick answer. In just 2 seconds, the result is visualized. It's portable. It can be sent to a desktop and it does not take up much memory. It works dynamically. There is not limit to the analysis and possibility of hospital autonomy, as it can be easily used by patient, doctor, or technician. Thus, we can automate the test phase in the analytical validation process and significantly improve the analytical frequency and practicality of the proposed method. Behind the code, our interface is divided into 5 main parts. First comes the importation, where we need 3 data spectra from the same sample to calculate the average spectrum. For the pre-processing phase, we use spectral cut, smoothing, baseline correction, and normalization. For sample selection, all samples will be sent to the test group. All the results are visualized as risk for patients with cancer suspected or healthy for the health group. From here, we can compare our method with the standard one. The interface has interesting advantages, especially when we think of the patient comfort, quick answer, low cost, and the decrease in human errors. Now compare the result statistically. The sensitivity of mammography varies from 88 to 94%, while Iracema reached 94%. As for specificity, mammography varies from 85 to 94%, and your method reached 91%. So we managed to achieve results as good as mammography. The model is validated in 2 stages. The internal validation consisted of analyzing sample with no result tested at the interface, and external validation will be through a randomized double test. For 12 months, the figures of merit will be obtained at performance at the hospital. But you must be wondering if it is possible to apply Iracema in other countries, and the answer is yes. It's possible, and it is accomplished by standardizing the data of the spectra and the method to obtain this spectra.
So, with all that said, we can conclude that Iracema's main advantages are that we can get a better prognosis through a non-destructive and statistically reliable method. With a low-cost analysis, it's accessible for most of the people, so this can lead to a reduction of the breast cancer mortality. And if you compare the high expensive of our method with the traditional one, it's important to consider that the digital mammography device costs something around $200,000 to $500,000, and it's needed at complementary exams and specialized professionals. While higher costs, the equipment for the samples analysis costs around $50,000, and it can be easily adapted to different environments and situations, and the analysis is done through a simple blood collection.
we have had several partners during the 3 years work, which are CNPq, Liga contra o Câncer, Prontoclínica Dr. Paulo Gugel, and our educational institution, UFRN. And we hope that Bayer will be the new one. So, what's for Bayer? To be the pioneer in the new breast cancer screening program with a lower cost and higher profit, being a great financial opportunity. We can offer innovative technology using data science with the potential for great social impact, fitting to the Bayer strategy towards oncology, improving women's quality of life, so this can lead to a reduction in breast cancer mortality. We just need support to create our company and implementing it in the clinical environment so we can succeed together. Now, we can affirm that digital technologies can be used in the health field to improve people's life. And finally, we would like to thank you all, including our mentor, James, who helped us so much, and the support of Melanie and Vanessa. We are very grateful for being here today. And does anyone have any questions?
So if Dennis picks me in the live stream, thank you very much, Team Chemometrics. That was groundbreaking, very interesting, and I see that Brazil has not only very good footballers, but data scientists. Thank you very much. And I will give the stage within a second to Jens. Jens, who was a mentor, and as I said, he will be the spokesman for the question in the live stream we collected for you. Thank you very much. Jens, the stage is yours.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Heiko. Let me take it from here, and let me say also, first of all, thank you to the team Chemometrics in Brazil. Obrigado. That was a great presentation. I think you did a great job in storytelling here. Everyone in the call can relate to cancer, to breast cancer probably. So I think you presented a great alternative to mammography here, right? And let us maybe start here. So our CIO, Bijoy, earlier commented already on advances in oncology due to data science, and many here in the call are certainly familiar with mammography. Can you again tell us what really sets you apart from the current gold standard? What's really the benefit? What would be the key points for you? What's better in your method here?
So the key point of Iracema is the rapid diagnosis and low-cost diagnosis. And with that, we can obtain an early diagnosis and we have the possibility of take the chance for the women to live, because the early diagnosis is the key in the case of the cancer. And in prostate cancer, in breast cancer, all of types of cancer, the early diagnosis is the key. So we can do this.
Okay, great. Thanks, Joao. There's also a very, let's say, technical question in the chat, actually. So how does it actually work? Does the patient has to take blood withdrawn from the breast, is the question?
No. The blood can be collected from the arm, like a simple blood enzyme.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks for clarifying. Along the line with this, and you commented on potential economic advantage, right? It could be cheaper. Did you consider, though, blood collection is certainly not a self-service, which I can quickly do at home. So the patient certainly might need to go to the doctor or the hospital. So did you consider this in your calculations?
So that cost that we show to you is just the cost of the equipment, the mammography and the FTIR, because is the high expensive of our work. But the cost of the sample collection is too cheap. Here in Brazil is something about real, approximately $15, something, 50 cents. Sorry, it's really too cheap.
Okay, so that's certainly not the cost driver here then. Okay, thanks a lot for clarifying. A very interesting question also. That's certainly a great idea. Would this potentially work for other types of cancer?
Yes, in our laboratory, we make some works with breast cancer, that's the word, and prostate cancer, Alzheimer, and fibromyalgia. So we have the great potential with that technique.
Okay, that would be really interesting to explore if this is even possible for other types of cancer. That's great. Let's maybe delve a bit in the data science aspect. Yeah, this is also the category data science here. You commented a bit on your model. You mentioned that you used MATLAB as a software tool to analyze your spectral analysis. These days, and I can tell from my experience here, what's buzzing in the industry is also R and Python. Why did you choose MATLAB? Can you comment on this?
So we choose to use the MATLAB because it's a very huge software to make the analysis of this data, to make this data mining. But one of the projects of our laboratory is to make this project in other softwares, open source preference, like R and Python.
Okay. So you mentioned that you're on this journey quite some time already, and that you also have more plans. We learned that basically you want to do an external validation in a clinical study, basically. Are there any real-life success stories already that you can share with us around Iracema? What results did we see already? What can you share here?
So the histories that I can share is the anxiety of the people, of the women we aboard to make part of this project. It's a very excited project that animates very people, women and men, all ages. And here in Brazil, we think that's a great potential to entering in our routine analysis, our routine exams.
Okay, great. So let me see if there are more questions. Certainly, we talked a bit already about the difference, mammography and your Iracema technology, let's say, or method. So comparative data between the two methods, is this available already? Do you have it at hand?
I'm sorry, can you repeat, please?
Certainly, what you showed us is that your method in some areas is even better than mammography. Certainly, this requires some comparative data, right? And you mentioned you published a paper already. So I guess comparative data between the two methods is available, right?
Yes. We published this paper in Scientific Reports, and we are very happy to this because it's a reference in this area.
Absolutely, yeah, it's very exciting. That's very exciting. I agree. Let's talk about hurdles, though, about potential obstacles here. What would be big obstacles from your perspective? Could it be regulatory problems? What could be obstacles on your further way? Yeah, let's talk also about this.
Yes, it's something about this, what you say, financial opportunity and the regulatory of, because our project was very big and this involve many stages of the healthy statement. So the regulatory is a very important part and is a challenge that we will we will win.
That's great. Okay, let me see. Some of the questions in the chat are very much going to the detail. I guess you're also open for further follow-up questions. Your paper can be found as well. Guess you're open to follow-ups. Let me not delve into the very detailed questions here now, I guess. Yeah, with this, is it okay, Heiko, if we hand over again to you? Then I would say thanks a lot again, obrigado to Brazil. That was really exciting. Thanks a lot for sharing all these details with us. Great presentation. Yeah, but I can also promise 2 more great presentations will follow. Thanks again to Brazil. And with this, I'm happy to hand over back to Heiko.
Thanks a lot, Jens. It was a pleasure to listen to this presentation. Hopefully I'm on air and my wingman had a look. I'm not on mute. That's the word of this year, 2020, you're on mute. And coming back to Destu, normally I'm the Lord Darth Vader of timekeeping and I have an eye on the watch, but you're so disciplined and so brilliant and within time. So I have the challenge to how to say, to get a minute or more. But what I can tell you, having a look in the other room, that the colleagues there are collecting a lot of interesting questions and maybe we have the possibility to answer one or more within the next 2 brilliant teams that will pitch now. We had two to come. And as far as I know, without having a view on my lot of post-its here on the table, the next one is NextSense, our Sino-Canadian team for digital therapeutics. And I think Cindy has the control about her presentation, and I hand it over to you, Cindy. Good luck.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for attending our presentation today. My name is Marina, and I'm a 4th-year physiology student at McGill University. I'm also the co-founder of NextSense, a startup dedicated to providing personalized medicine for sepsis detection and patient empowerment. Within the NextSense team, I lead research and development, communications, and project management. Now I'll let the other members of NextSense introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cindy. Within the NextSense team, I contribute to visual and computer-aided design, process engineering, and clinical and R&D strategy. I am a senior at the Johns Hopkins University studying biomedical engineering and neuroscience.
Hi, my name is Douglas, and I'm a 3rd-year student at McGill University studying computer science and biology. I contribute data science as well as research and development skills to NextSense.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joyce, and I'm a 4th-year psychology student from McGill University. Within the NextSense team, I contribute to research and development and also advocate for patient-centric innovation.
And hi, everyone. I'm Emily, and I study information technology at McGill University's Business School. At NextSense, I work primarily with the branding and business strategy. Now, on to you, Marina.
Thanks, everyone. By having a diverse team with university majors ranging from business to psychology and biomedical engineering, we hope to bring a holistic approach to both technology development and patient care. Today, Cindy and I will be presenting, and the whole team will be answering questions from our judges and audience. This year's prompt for the Bayer Digital Campus Challenge is, how digital will Bayer be in 2032? We believe that NextSense offers a digital solution to sepsis by providing personalized medicine for sepsis detection and patient empowerment. By the end of this presentation, we hope that you will all grasp the severity of sepsis as a public health emergency, understand how NextSense helps patients in various capacities, and comprehend how synergies with Bayer can maximize NextSense's potential. We asked members of the general public to define sepsis, and many people thought it was a type of infection, which is the most common misconception about this condition. In actuality, sepsis is the body's overwhelming and extreme response to infection, leading to damage to the body's own tissues and organs, resulting in shock, multi-organ failure, and death. Many surviving patients often suffer from long-term consequences, including muscle weakness, impaired memory, pain, and mental health conditions. Someone in the world dies a sepsis-related death every 2.8 seconds, and mortality rates range by country between 15 and 30%. On average, sepsis kills more people than breast, lung, and prostate cancer combined. Risk factors for sepsis include recent hospitalizations, being over 60 years old, being immunocompromised, and having other health conditions and comorbidities. Additionally, 80% of sepsis cases start outside the hospital. However, there are currently no detection methods for outpatient settings. In summary, while sepsis is an extremely relevant issue in global healthcare, there is little education, prevention, and detection methods available. In order to calculate the economic burden of sepsis, we used values from the CDC and Critical Care Medicine Journal. The following estimates are the annual cost of sepsis originating outside the hospital in U.S. adults in 2032, target year of this presentation. Each sepsis case will cost $81,000 USD, meaning the total annual cost for U.S. adult sepsis cases in 2032 will be $148.1 billion. We can also break this amount down into costs paid by the hospital and by the patient, respectively. As you can see, sepsis is associated with enormous economic burdens. I'd also like to highlight the importance of detection time on sepsis outcomes. The earlier that clinicians can detect sepsis, the treatment regimen is simpler, shorter, and lacks negative consequences. The more severe the sepsis, the more expensive the medical bills are due to the extensive treatment and recovery process, leading to enormous economic burdens that we discussed above. Additionally, late detection is associated with poor clinical consequences, including organ failure, pain, and memory loss. Late-stage detection of sepsis is also correlated with mental illnesses such as depression and anxiety. Lastly, the later that sepsis is detected, the higher the mortality rates are for patients. All of this to say, early sepsis detection is essential in order to prevent financial, clinical, and psychological burdens for the patient. Imagine the year is 2032. I'd like to introduce you to Eva Sanchez, a 71-year-old woman with stage 2 colon cancer. She recently underwent tumor resection surgery and is now being discharged to live with her daughter and recover. As Eva is over 60 years old, immunocompromised, and was recently discharged from a medical facility, she is at heightened risk of developing sepsis. Eva begins showing early symptoms of sepsis, such as clammy hands, muscle pains, and frequent urges to urinate, but is unaware they are signs of sepsis and assumes they are just byproducts from her surgery. A few days later, she begins vomiting violently and passes out. So her daughter calls 911 and she is transported to the emergency room, where they discover she has sepsis. She is hospitalized for 11 days, finding herself with a hospital bill of $30,000 USD, as well as long-term physical and mental consequences. I'll now pass it over to Cindy, who will explain how we can help Eva detect early signs and symptoms of sepsis to avoid rehospitalization and prevent these negative consequences from occurring.
Thank you, Marina. As you can see through Eva's story, many elements of the current care workflow make the detection of sepsis in outpatient settings very difficult. There's a lack of means to detect the onset of sepsis in the outpatient setting. There is a lack of understanding of sepsis and its symptoms by the patients and their families. As late detection of sepsis leads to increased patient burdens, these factors ultimately result in the lack of means to reduce the patient burden after the onset of sepsis. To effectively address these issues, we introduced NextSense, a comprehensive, personalized patient monitoring and reporting system that enables the early detection of sepsis in outpatient settings. By taking ambulatory measurements of vital signs and regularly providing psychological assessments, NextSense provides tools to continuously monitor clinical indicators and easily detect the onset of sepsis in the outpatient setting. The NextSense system also includes a user-friendly app interface for patients and their families that facilitates interaction with their care team and provides access to informational resources for increased sepsis understanding and awareness. Through this system, NextSense enables early detection of sepsis and continues to provide relevant support after the onset of sepsis, ultimately reducing the clinical, financial, and psychological burdens of the patient. NextSense is a two-part digital therapeutic solution. The first component is a wearable ring that continuously monitors 4 vital signs that serve as clinically significant indicators of sepsis: heart rate, blood pressure, respiratory rate, and body temperature. The NextSense ring has built-in PPG and temperature sensors that monitor these vital signs in an ambulatory fashion throughout the day. The LED surface along the outer rim of the ring provides visual feedback about abnormal deviations from baseline vital signs to the user. All data collected by the ring is primarily transmitted to connected smart devices via Bluetooth for data sharing with the care team through a cloud, but the ring also features in-house data storage capacities for up to 8 hours in case of disconnection with the app. Thermal charging and durable waterproof design enables the patient to continuously wear their ring for use throughout the day. The ring comes in standard ring sizes and can be personalized in terms of baseline vital measurements prior to use. The second component is an interactive, personalizable app that empowers the patient and enables the care team to improve patient health outcomes in outpatient settings. The app has 3 different interfaces, each designed for use by the patient, the caretaker, or the physician. We will now be taking a closer look at each. First, we present the patient view of the app. Once the patient downloads the app, they will be asked to create a sign-in account. The app will be connected to the ring using a special 5-digit code that comes with the ring, enabling personalized connection. Once logged in, the patient will have the option to add members of their care team and customize data sharing settings, which ensures patient data security and private data sharing capacities. The main page of the app features daily summaries of vital sign measurements, and the patient will have the option to view weekly and monthly summaries as well as more detailed data information. Informational resources, including a medication checker, will be available through the app for use by the patient. This informational resource will also help patients see reliable information about sepsis and its symptoms. The app also features a messaging function which provides automated questions and answers to check in with the patient and enables the patient to easily contact the members of their care team. Next, we will show the caretaker view of the app. The caretaker view of the app will have similar access to vital sign measurement summaries. However, it will include more sepsis-related educational resources focused more particularly on the use by the caretaker. Every 3 days, the caretaker will be asked to complete a psychological questionnaire based on a validated caregiver assessment for delirium that enables the caretaker to easily monitor and access the patient's psychological state, which is the 5th clinically significant indicator of sepsis. The physician view of the app, on the other hand, will feature an integrated messaging platform. The physician will be able to access messages from all connected patients on this platform. Once the physician taps on the profile of a particular patient, the physician will be able to access a private channel containing conversational history with the patient, as well as the patient's medical history, medications, NextSense data, and relevant personal information. Such layout design enables easy navigation for the physician. So to bring it all back together, the NextSense system uses an integrated system of a wearable ring and an interactive app to detect early sepsis in outpatient settings. Upon fitting, the ring measures the patient's vital signs and sends vital data to the phone app via Bluetooth connection. The phone app utilizes a data cloud to share data with the caretaker and the physician. The features of the app further provides customized data sharing options, enables user interaction and collected data, and increases sepsis understanding for patients and care team. Together, the NextSense system empowers the patient and the care team for improved patient care outcomes. Here, we present the anticipated timeline for our product development. As there may be unforeseen complications, please keep in mind that the exact duration of each phase may be subject to change. We have already completed a substantial portion of our ideation phase. We completed a large part of our market and product requirements assessment and initiated the development of a risk analysis and mitigation plan. We have also started our design and prototyping through the ongoing development of a project plan, as well as the initiation of prototype engineering and intellectual property strategy development. We will advance efforts to acquire funding in the near future to drive our prototype design, testing, and clinical trials. In conjunction with the testing and clinical development aspect, we will pursue regulatory efforts to gain US FDA approval as a Class II medical device. Through these measures, we believe that we can begin formal preparation for product launch by 2024, when we will begin the manufacture and distribution of our system directly to physicians and through pharmacies. We will officially launch our project into the market by 2025. This will give us sufficient time to establish a presence in the market and build significant impact by 2032, the target year of this challenge.
Now that Cindy has explained the NextSense system in more detail, let's examine how we can make a difference in Eva's life. As we know, Eva is a 71-year-old woman with stage 2 colon cancer and recently underwent surgery to remove her tumor. In this scenario, NextSense has been on the market for 7 years and is well established within the medical community. Therefore, upon discharge, Eva is prescribed the NextSense system by her physician and picks it up at her local pharmacy. Eva wears the ring continuously, and both her and her daughter download the NextSense app on their phones. During recovery, they read educational information about sepsis to better understand and recognize signs and symptoms. One morning, Eva's ring turns red, suggesting changes in her baseline vital signs. The app immediately notifies her oncologist, and they set up an appointment that same day. When Eva arrives at the medical facility, her blood work is drawn, revealing she has early-stage sepsis. With some IV fluids and broad-spectrum antibiotics, Eva makes a full recovery with no long-term health consequences and significantly reduced medical bills from the previous scenario. In summary, NextSense enabled the early detection of sepsis, saved medical costs, and helped preserve Eva's quality of life. One thing that we'd like to present to the audience today is the 2030 World Sepsis Declaration, which is created by the Global Sepsis Alliance. This document highlights goals for the next 10 years to try to eliminate the multifactorial burdens of sepsis. We encourage you to scan this QR code using your phone camera and to read the document. NextSense contributes directly to 3 out of the 6 key goals. In particular, NextSense increases sepsis survival in all countries by facilitating early sepsis detection through our ring. We will improve public understanding and awareness surrounding sepsis via informational material on our app, as well as increased awareness from our company growth. Lastly, NextSense will improve measures of sepsis-related burden and impacts via proactive patient monitoring and management using the NextSense system. With our projected launch being in 2025, we will have 5 years to make a significant contribution and impact to the World 2030 Sepsis Declaration. Our entire team has signed this declaration, committing ourselves to eliminating sepsis globally. Once again, we encourage you to scan this QR code using your phone camera and to read and sign the declaration yourself. We'll take just a few seconds to pause and allow you to do so. We also want to discuss COVID-19's impact on our product. As we all know, there has been a global surge in infection rates due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Sepsis is, by definition, the body's damaging reaction to an infection. Therefore, as COVID-19 infections have increased, so have sepsis cases around the world. A recent study published in the New England Journal of Medicine revealed that 70% of severe COVID-19 patients experience septic shock, which is the most severe form of sepsis. Now more than ever, is it essential to tackle sepsis as a public health concern due to the presence of the COVID-19 pandemic. Additionally, on the right side of our screen, you'll see we've included some alternative conditions for which NextSense can act as a solution. The first table highlights some medical conditions that increase the risk for sepsis, including irritable bowel disease, chronic respiratory disease, and peripheral artery disease. By implementing NextSense for patients with these conditions, our market size increases by several 100 million patients and protects them against the dangers of sepsis. The bottom table illustrates medical conditions that could benefit from vital sign monitoring, independent of sepsis. Epilepsy, dysautonomia, and arrhythmias, such as atrial fibrillation, exhibit fluctuations daily in vital signs that lead to seizures and fainting spells. Implementing NextSense to monitor these vital signs in patient populations can help patients with these chronic conditions live safer and fuller lives. Together with Bayer, we can build science for a better life by improving patient outcomes around the world. Bayer, as an esteemed corporation, has a global reach to patients and pharmacies that will allow us to maximize the amount of people using NextSense. Additionally, by implementing NextSense technologies, we can lessen the burden on the healthcare system by preventing incidences of late-stage sepsis, which use an enormous amount of medical resources and capital. With the overworked and flooded system due to COVID-19, it's important that we lessen the load on these healthcare workers. We can strengthen Bayer's relationship with its physician network by reducing late-stage hospital visits and lessening the overall burden of sepsis on the healthcare system. Lastly, NextSense can expand existing Bayer pharmaceutical and Pill Plus efforts. Currently, Bayer produces broad-spectrum antibiotics like Ciprobay, which are used to treat sepsis. They also manufacture countless pharmaceuticals that treat and manage many comorbidities that increase the risk of sepsis. As Bayer already has ties in these domains, we can enhance Bayer's impact on the lives of patients to a greater extent using digital technologies, which will also help Bayer move into the Pill Plus marketplace. In conclusion, NextSense facilitates the early detection of sepsis in outpatient settings using our ring to measure vital signs. The NextSense app provides educational information and support, which increases the public understanding of sepsis by patients and caretakers alike. Lastly, by investing in NextSense, Bayer can reduce patient and healthcare burdens associated with sepsis to effectively provide health for all. We'd like to give a few thank yous. First to Christian, Heiko, and Suzanne from Bayer for your mentorship, communication, and organizational efforts. We'd also like to thank Dr. Stephen Paraskevas from the McGill University Health Center for your subject matter expertise in patient care in this domain. Additionally, thanks to the Global Sepsis Alliance for your commitment to ending sepsis every day. Importantly, we'd like to thank our patient interviewees for sharing your stories with us and allowing us to craft our product to meet the specific needs of your community. And lastly, we'd like to thank our judges and audience for taking the time to listen to our and our fellow participants' presentations. We can open up the floor to any questions.
So thanks a lot. That was really, really, really impressive. NextSense makes sense, to make it one bold statement. And I don't want to steal your time because there are a tremendous amount of questions in the chat. So I will hand over rapidly to Christian, who was the mentor. The stage is yours, Christian.
Thank you very much, Heiko. I'm also thrilled, and we already received the first offers to cooperate with you, and that's why I want to hand over I want to thank you for a great presentation, and I have to say that I really enjoyed working with you together and mentoring, learning a lot from you. One of the questions. What's the importance of this psychological evaluation in relation to sepsis? You mentioned that the patients have the possibility to answer to this. What about this?
Hi, Christian. Thanks for that question. Altered mental status is one of the 3 key indicators used to identify sepsis in hospital settings, both severe and mild sepsis. So this is a really key indicator. The psychological evaluation that we've used is a validated measure of delirium that can be used by informal and untrained caregivers or a close friend who has regular contact with the patient, either in person or via telephone calls. It's really convenient to complete. It only takes about a minute, but it's highly sensitive and highly specific for sepsis, so it does a great job at detecting it. So the caregiver will be asked to complete this assessment every 3 days, which allows for the NextSense system to generate enough data without overwhelming the caregiver, which is something that we find is really important. Additionally, through completing these psychological assessments regularly, we hope that caregivers will become more familiar with these key psychological symptoms of sepsis to look out for, and that they'll be able to better identify these critical early warning signs and help the patient. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it's also valuable for pharmaceutical industry to get insights into this behaviors of the patients and how they are feeling. What's the long-term benefit for the patients if you look on this?
I'll take that question. Thank you, Christian. So we found that from the study from the Journal of Intensive Care Medicine stated that sepsis patients actually had significantly higher infection rates 1 year post-sepsis. And of course, as infection rate increases, so does the risk of sepsis and recurrence. This is where NextSense comes in, as our proactive and prolonged monitoring will prevent this potential reoccurrence of the disease. Our continued monitoring via the psychological assessments that Joyce has just described will help patients ensure they have intact cognitive abilities despite sepsis' psychological consequences, which include depression, anxiety, and PTSD. Finally, in our app, we have our educational resources, which include specific information that target the aftercare of sepsis, which will help patient caregivers provide the most efficient care after sepsis. Thank you.
Overwhelming. Thank you very much. There's another question in the chat. What's the material the ring is made of, and especially what are the costs of the ring and the application? Who wants to take that?
I can take that. So the material of the ring, we're just going to say it's metal. We can't reveal any specific information because it is it's intellectual property, but it will be metallic, and we estimate the cost to be around $300 currently.
Okay. There is another question from the chat. How often is the information being monitored by the physicians if there are the interactions between patient and physicians?
I can take this question. So the NextSense data is transmitted directly to the physician's device using cloud, and this physician will receive updates from the patient when the patient's vital signs are irregular, and also when the patient or caregiver messages the physician directly. So it won't be too overwhelming of burden on the physicians, and that's the last thing we want to do, is place more burden on the healthcare system.
Sure. Right now, we know that there is other devices on the market. So what's the difference of NextSense system? It is just another device, or how do you see this opportunity for the patient?
I can also take this question. So currently, based on our market analysis, there are currently no detection methods for sepsis in the outpatient setting. We are the only ones. There is one ring medical device that measures vital signs, but it seems to measure them differently than us, and also not for the purpose of sepsis and other medical conditions in the same way. So that's the answer to your question, Christian.
Great. Is the app and the ring already patented, or are you just planning this?
So I can take this question. We are in contact with lawyers to negotiate the process of starting our patent. So we haven't yet patented it, but we are planning to start the patenting process in the very near future.
Great. And what about charging the ring? Is there not a need to do this regularly, or what are the benefits for the patient in this way?
I can also take this question. So our ring actually uses a thermal charging capacity. So if the patient is wearing the ring, the temperature of the patient themselves will be enough to actually power the ring and the data collecting measurements. So the patient will never have to take their ring off because it's also waterproof, and they'll be able to perform all activities of daily living with the ring on their hand.
Great. So I would just go through the questions here in the chat. And the latest question is, how do you stop the barrier of using the equipment and the age of the patient?
Joyce, do you want to maybe take this one?
Yes, I'll take this question. So age is something that we definitely have considered, considering that being an older adult is a big risk factor for sepsis. So we want to make sure that the app is really, really simple to use, and even things like font size, we want to make sure that it's accessible and legible for older adults or individuals with visual impairments. So in terms of usage by the patient, it's really up to them what they want to make of the app. If they want to get educational resources, they can do that. But if they just want to use the ring to collect these vital data, vital signs, and transmit that to their caregivers and their family doctor, that's something they can do. They can just wear the ring and not use the app at all. It's perfectly fine. But we will, when developing the app, we will definitely consider accessibility.
Okay. You already mentioned that there are different other opportunities in using the ring and the system itself for other indications. Within the chat, there was also a question if this would be useful for diabetes patients and regular screening patients in this area. What do you mean about this, or what do you think about this?
Yeah, absolutely. Diabetes is associated with changes in vital signs based on your blood sugar reading. So absolutely, it does have relevance in the diabetes realm. We would have to do specific testing with diabetes patients in order to better understand the rate of fluctuation of these vital signs and personalize it to them. But yes, absolutely, it has roots in the diabetes field as well.
As you already mentioned, Joyce, that the ring will be of a metal. What will happen if the patients are allergic to this material? Do you have any plans about this?
Hi, I can take this question. So we are hoping to make it out of hypoallergenic material. So there are hypoallergenic jewelry out there. So those are the materials that we have been considering to ensure that we don't cause additional medical burdens to the patients by causing allergic reactions. So this is definitely a factor that we've been taking into consideration.
Perfect. As you see, dear audience, this is a high throughput team, and we have a lot of questions here. But I have to summarize, and thank you very much again. Keep fingers crossed for voting. I'm hoping that you're really, really fast on the mark and help the customers. And with it saying that, I will hand over back to Heiko.
Christian, can I just make one final comment?
Yeah, sure.
I just want to say to everyone that one person dies of sepsis every 2.8 seconds, meaning that during the course of this presentation, nearly 643 people have died of sepsis. So I just want to say it's time for change, and NextSense offers this change, and we encourage you to check us out on LinkedIn. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Heiko, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. But after this last comment, it feels somehow a little bit harder to find the right words after your final statement. But it shows how important the topic of sepsis is. And maybe talking about diabetes, I have to link you to the last year's winner, to D-Food, that won with a topic about the diabetic food ulcer. Coming back, we have still 5 minutes that we won. And if our final team, MediFinder, from Bulgaria, the Netherlands, and Austria is ready, and the view to my wingman shows me they are, then just 1 second before, I have to say, After the final presentation of MediFinder, we will provide you with the long experience code to the public voting. After that, I will give you the code to the public voting. And as I learned from our broadcaster, he will have a frame with the code as well. So this means maybe 5 minutes earlier than expected, you're all able to vote. And now, enough talk. I give the stage to MediFinder.
Thank you. And hi, everyone. And it's great to see that all of you are still tuned in to watch our presentation. I'm Robin from Team MediFinder. And even though many of you do not know me, I'm going to ask you to do something. And that is to imagine. Imagine that you are a nurse and you work very hard during the day and sometimes even at night. And you can make the difference between life and death. And as a result of this workload and pressure, it might not shock you that sometimes you look a bit like the nurse on this picture, even though you love your job with every inch of your body. And now I want you to imagine once more. And I want you to imagine that you, as a nurse, are at work. Of course, where else do you need to be? It's the busiest time of the day. And for a patient, you need to find one of the fewer available but expensive medical devices, such as a bladder scan or mechanical ventilator. And now it's up to you to find it. But there's a problem. All the current solutions to quickly locate these are very ineffective and time-consuming. So you spend many unnecessary minutes in finding the right medical equipment, or sometimes even more than half an hour. And as a result of this, it could be that Ben, who's laying there, who's a patient, but also someone's grandfather and someone's father, does not get the best quality of care he could have gotten. And of course, this is none of the nurse's fault, but we just see this as a huge opportunity for improvement. You might think, well, maybe this only happens at the nursing house I work at, or the hospital you're working at. But actually, we see a similar pattern in the whole healthcare sector. On average, nurses spend around 25% of their time in finding the right medical devices and supplies. And on top of that, just to find one particular device can already take up to more than an hour in really some rare occasions. And on top of that, 38% of the nurses are affected by some forms of burnouts each year. And having to spend a lot of time in finding necessary equipment certainly doesn't help. What I would like to do now is I want to give you an example of how even small improvements can already have a huge impact on the quality of care provided. Take Germany, for example, home to over 1 million amazing and hardworking nurses. If you would be able to take 30 minutes per shift that is spent on finding medical equipment, and you can transform this in time actually available to the patients, we are already talking about 57 years of healthcare better spent each day. 57 years each day. Let that sink in for a moment. I don't know how about you, but me it gives really goosebumps. What are the reasons that there are so many opportunities for improvement? Well, first of all, it might be that nurses don't bring back the medical devices to the dedicated areas because they have other priorities. And this perfectly makes sense. If you're working at the 4th floor and suddenly you need to take care for another patient and another patient who immediately needs attention, then you don't want to go into the whole process of bringing it back to the other side of the building. What you also see is that sometimes there aren't even dedicated storage areas, so the devices are just scattered around all the buildings, and yeah, there's just no structure. And what we also often see is that there are already registering processes in place, but they are very ineffective and time-consuming. So you might have at the ground floor, you have a certain point where you have to sign in and sign off the devices, but there are many problems that can occur in this process, as well as that it's time-consuming, of course. So you might think, well, this is only a problem in the healthcare sector, but actually this is only the tip of the iceberg. There are many other industries who would really like to have a solution in finding regular equipment, and where such a solution would come in very handy. For instance, the agriculture industry, the manufacturing industry, or even the construction industry. If you would be able to find a solution that works for the healthcare sector, you already significantly lower your barriers to actually expand to all of these other industries. But for now, we will stay with the healthcare sector because we think this is the most crucial one. And it's a shame that it took a global pandemic for some people to realize how crucial actually it is. So Samuel, could you maybe explain these nice folks how we went on to take healthcare to the next level?
Of course, Robin. I apologize for that. Well, our team was all bound together by the common goal to pursue a positive innovation during our studies in Rotterdam. You know, really put technology to good use for genuinely good effects. And after a few initial brainstorm meetings, we all discovered that due to various circumstances in our families, we each found the topic of elderly care particularly important to us. So then that was it. Our focus from that moment on was set. But we knew we had to know more about our target market. We had to really understand it and understand what problems there are and what can we do to solve them. So this is why it was key for us that we managed to work together with AFIA, one of the largest chains of nursing homes in all of the Netherlands. We went there, we visited a few of their locations, and we even got the chance to discuss our ideas with their innovation lead, who really supported our mission, and he was of great help to us. Amazing, amazing person. More importantly, we got down to the grassroots, and we managed to talk to the actual nurses working there. We wanted to, again, really understand them and see what they saw as the biggest obstacles to doing the best possible job they can. And this is where we even used the chance to simulate searching and finding this equipment around the facilities, and I can tell you it really was frustrating. I specifically remember a nurse sharing with us a story about a patient that was in agonizing pain because of a bladder issue. And the AFIA facility where he had been placed had only one bladder scan for the whole facility. That's 4 stories and 2 wings. It's a big building. So the nurse had to desperately look around 4 floors of the building, frantically trying to find this device, all meanwhile the patient was in agonizing pain. So to prevent situations like this from ever happening again, we saw how valuable it would be to improve this process for the nurses' everyday work. So we worked with a step-by-step lean approach from that moment on, running each new idea by the nurses to see if it was going in the right direction. Because at the end of the day, if the nurses couldn't use it, or if it just didn't save them time, then ultimately what would be the point of it? So we had different solutions. We had at first SMS-based notification systems, we had checkout stations and others, but after going back to the nurses with each single one of those steps, we discovered that none of them were really addressing the problem in the right way. However, that was still very valuable information, and we knew we just had to think more about this. So how did we actually solve this problem in a feasible and cost-effective way? Well, after having sufficient understanding not only of the problem but of the environment that we had to work with, we performed a technological analysis. We first thought about GPS trackers. Everybody's first in mind option for tracking, right? Well, yes, and despite all the benefits and widespread usage, it turns out that indoors they're not too accurate, they were really data heavy, and most importantly, they were unable to provide information regarding the actual vertical location of the device. So then LAN solutions were considered. However, the medical equipment in question was much harder to convert into LAN peripheral nodes than we would have liked it to, so therefore we had to distance ourselves from that solution as well. 5G was of course looked at, and despite the incredible promise of the technology, which obviously is there, it's just not advanced enough at this current stage or widespread enough to be applied into a solution today, and that's exactly what we wanted to do. So then we looked at the leading solutions in asset tracking, such as 3D mesh networks. But we quickly understood that those were too costly, too hard to adopt, and were only really worthwhile for inventory-centric businesses that put asset tracking at the core of their operations. So this is when we saw that Bluetooth Low Energy was the way to go for our solution. In contrast to traditional Bluetooth, it doesn't beam data-heavy signals each second. Instead, it can beam small data packages at any wanted interval that are then scanned for. And this technology is actually the foundation on which many of the COVID-19 contact tracking apps are based. So using BLE technology, we created MediFinder. Easy to adopt and easy to use. The beauty of it all is really in its simplicity. MediFinder makes use of the existing IT infrastructure within facilities. So that's each smart device, tablet, computer, what have you, can act as a BLE scanner, constantly looking for BLE signals in the background. These signals coming from beacons, each attached to an important piece of medical device. The database seamlessly logs whenever a beacon is scanned, and then the interface clearly shows where each medical device was last located. Better yet, the nurses, they wouldn't even need to know about all those details. Setting it up for them was as easy as pie. All they need to do is take one of the beacons and stick it to an important piece of medical equipment that needs tracking. Then they simply download our app to each smart device that they want to use as a scanner. Up top, they tap and type the location of the device, and then they hit start service. And that's it. Now they can go back to work with a clear mind while the device looks for beacon signals in the background. So then next time they urgently need some equipment, they don't need to frantically look around for it everywhere. All they need to do is just grab the nearest smartphone or tablet, and then it's as simple as accessing our interface, picking the device they want to find, and finding it at the last shown location. No more stress, no more time loss, much more looked after patients. That's what a happy nurse needs. And it may all seem like it's just too good to be true, but we can tell you we went back to AFIA with a developed prototype. And there we ran multiple tests and trials. And the results were exactly what we hoped for. Not only the nurses had no trouble setting up the application and using the simple steps to find the needed equipment, but also our tests showed that it took them much less time to find the equipment with MediFinder than it did before that. And this the nurses were explicitly happy about. So we really do feel confident about our innovation. But now I'll let Sander tell you a little bit more about our actual business.
Thank you, Sammy, for explaining how we got here. And then the most exciting part, which is the numbers. Our total addressable market falls under the total global factory systems market. A subpart of that is the smart factory market. And a subpart of that is the market in which we operate. The real-time location systems market, or RTOS, is estimated to be 3.4 billion euros this year alone. From this 3.4 billion, a staggering 1.4 billion is directed towards RTOS in the healthcare sector. This is a fair amount already. However, it is expected that a compound annual growth rate of 23% will result in the sector ballooning to 3.9 billion in 2025. This is more than the total market right now. But before we continue, let's take a step back and see how we plan on capturing this market. Our business is based on a location as a service model. For a fixed price per month, customers can track their devices. This model is hyper scalable since the installment of the software can be done using a predefined set of instructions, a sort of cookbook with which any blue-collar worker can set up the system without help needed from MediFinder. With this business model in place, we can estimate the total revenues for Bayer in Germany and Europe. We plan to lease out the software, including the tags to customers, for a price of 15 euros per tag per month. On average, we expect that a location will need tags for 30 different devices. Some will need more and some will need less. Furthermore, in Germany alone, there are almost 200,000 enterprises with more than 20 employees each. This includes 15,000 nursing homes and 2,000 hospitals. These combined can be considered our target market. If you plug in these numbers and work our magic, there's a potential market in Germany of more than 1 billion euros annually. Since our solution is very scalable, the technology is very young and competition is still very small, we could quickly capture 10% of the market, which results in 100 million annual revenue for Bayer. If we extrapolate this to Europe, we get diverging numbers, but we can see that the revenues could be between 4.5 and 10 billion euros annually, depending on how you extrapolate, on GDP or population side. Of course, creating these revenues needs input from partners. In order to hyperscale the solution, we can work with hyperscalers, such as AWS, Google, or Microsoft Azure. And the beacons are a commodity produced by various companies in all sizes and colors. Furthermore, by working with industry organizations such as Echo Healthcare, we will be able to combine forces to make the biggest impact in the life of the nurses and the patients. Then, it's important to not just look at the revenues, but also to look at the reduced costs for the clients. For this, we go back to our healthcare market. An average nurse in Germany grosses 18 euros an hour. Furthermore, we assume that he saves 15 minutes per search and does this at least 4 times a day. This total of 1 hour per day is a very conservative estimate, because we saw in the beginning of the presentation that nurses spend up to 25% of their time searching for devices. Also, there are more than 1 million nurses in Germany. Again, we work our magic and we come to 4.7 billion euros in annual savings for the German healthcare sector. Also, there are more than 150,000 vacancies for nurses expected in 2025. Therefore, these time savings are very welcome in the sector. The work pressure is incredibly high, and with these savings, we can drastically improve the care which the elderly get. Next to these cost savings, we also expect the nurses to improve their satisfaction with their work. They will spend more time on caring for the patients and less time finding the equipment to do so. Furthermore, indirect financial effects are expected as well, if we take into account that the first minutes of emergency are when the devices are needed quickly, and therefore the most important. If someone is in dire need for a scanner, but it takes 30 minutes to find it, the patient is in pain. By quickly tracking the location of the device, the pain is decreased to an absolute minimum. To sum it all up, we are MediFinder. Our solution is first of all cost-effective, because we use current infrastructure of the customer. Secondly, we are reliable, as the technology has battery life of up to 46 months and no maintenance is needed by the customer. Lastly, we are easy to use. We've tested our solution in the field and saw that nurses without technical skills can use the system without additional training. Our team consists of Florian, myself, Robin, and Samuel. We've met during a master's degree in Rotterdam and are currently scattered all over Europe. Our interests are diverging from entrepreneurship to organization and sustainability. We have enjoyed working with each other and are looking forward to taking MediFinder to the next level. So here we are, at the end. And it's safe to say that being a nurse is important work, but it's also much demanding. Why don't help we to provide them with the best care they can possibly give? We are MediFinder. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, MediFinder. Maybe you have named yourself Solution Finder. That I feel like a broken record. I can only repeat and repeat. It's really impressive what all of you guys are presenting today. And maybe now you get an expression why I said at the beginning of this live stream, everyone invited to this grand final is still or yet a winner. And that was meant by heart. But before taking your time, I will hand over to your mentor, Armin. He's the title defender from last year. I will mute myself and the stage is yours.
Heiko, many thanks. Hopefully one can hear me. Before I go into the introduction, first of all, I would like to thank the team. So it was a great pleasure to host you on this mentorship here. So special thanks to Sandler, Robin, Florian, and also Samuel. And a word why I was so much in favor of this presentation. So we are now in front of or in the middle of the pandemic, if you will. And what I can tell you, in the Western countries, the most critical point when dealing with the pandemic is our capacity in the hospitals, but not with the free beds and the possibilities to care. It's about the capacity of nurses and also the doctors. So that is the limiting factor. And so I think that a solution like yours can help facilitate and further streamline so the capacity of the nurses and also the surrounding stuff. So that was so much appealing that I said it must find its way to the final here. So I was receiving a couple of questions in between And let me start with one that is a very good one. So a lot of medical devices need to be sterilized. So in terms of heat and pressure. So has this been considered? Because the beacon might not undergo this procedure without damage. Was this a topic when you prepared for the pitch?
Sammy, maybe you could answer that?
Yes, so the beacons, the system that we have prepared is designed to work with any sort of beacon which beams out BLE signals. So therefore, we can really easily collaborate with partners that produce beacons that have various other properties involved. And actually, we know of another startup, funnily enough, from our masters as well, which did work with a similar technology aiming to make it resistant to various bacteria, temperatures, and other conditions. So the fact that other people can that already work when manufacturing these beacons can develop these various other attributes to the beacon allows us to be much more flexible in designing the particular solution which is needed for any case.
Good, Samuel. Thank you. Also, a very interesting question, also because of experience collected at various plants in the company. So sometimes devices disappear. They are not registered because then they would be easy to find, but they just disappear. Maybe also out of the radiation radar of the beacons. So was this considered, and is there an alert if there is a beacon no longer in the screen anymore?
Sammy, you can go.
Should I? Okay. So when we developed the system, the IT team which worked with us, they put in a system in place which shows whether the connection has been stable enough for a significant amount of time for the beacon within the facility. And then it sends a sort of disconnect signal when this connection is no longer stable or is no longer observed. So it's very feasible for us to implement a notification system that states that the device has not been located anywhere within the existing IT infrastructure of the facility. However, for tracking outside of the facility, this is not something which our solution involves up to this point as a prototype. However, if we couple it together with GPS trackers that maybe turn on outside of the facilities, then we can provide some sort of guidance on where missing equipment may be. But at this point, installing notifications is definitely feasible.
Samuel, let's elaborate a little bit on your answer and the problem which is in the room. There is another question I think is really interesting, in particular for a life science company like Bayer or others. So remember Alzheimer's. So people do not know anymore where they are located, their names, their location, basically. So screening and monitoring people could be quite interesting to help the people in case of such an event. So if they disappear, so maybe it would be also a case, a subject, if you want, for your topic. Have you thought about that one?
That is a very, very interesting suggestion, actually, Armin. We haven't discussed this under this context, but it's a very interesting suggestion for adapting it.
Okay, but that is now really a new use case, if you will, and you haven't thought about this at this point in time, right? So if I got it right.
Yeah, so that's the thing. This technology is so broad that it can be applied in so many different situations that the use cases are endless. So we can probably drum up 100 different use cases right now that were outside of our spectrum because, yeah, it's so broad.
Yeah, it even can go beyond actually the healthcare sector, as we mentioned in the beginning. So just it's the flexibility and the scalability of the solution that we think is really appealing.
Yeah. So during your presentation, you made a special emphasis on the nurses and the user experience. You showed up so real at their location, and you also you accompanied them while they were doing their job. So what is with the user experience, or with the satisfaction of the nurses, and how did you measure it?
So what we did is we went to the location and we talked to the real nurses and we asked, what are you currently experiencing? And the nurses said, I'm spending so much of my time finding these devices that it really frustrates me. We found this solution. We asked the nurses to implement it. due to COVID, we were not able to go inside anymore because the nursing homes went into lockdown. But through digital technologies, we asked them, what do you think of our solution? Is it working? Are you happy with it? Is it reducing the time that you need to find the equipment? And all the answers were yes. They liked the solution and they were able to use it. And when they didn't use it anymore since it was a trial, they were like, hey, but when is it coming back? And right now, the nursing home that we were in contact with is implementing the system as we speak in their nursing homes to solve this problem.
Excellent. Are there already some ratings back that you can also tell something about what is with a real life solution with the minimal viable product you have designed for that purpose? Or is this brand new and you are still waiting for the feedback?
Yeah, so it's implemented right now. The prototype was, everyone loved it. The nurses said, this is what we need. This is what solves our problem. But the actual solution is being implemented right now, and that is too early to say.
Okay, so you were also touching down a little bit on the market and the spot in real-time location service. So what is the differentiating factor with your technology compared to market offerings?
Yeah, so currently there's a wide variety of location tracking systems already out there. If you look at the Gartner reports that are out there, the spectrum shifts every 6 months. There's a new report. And you see that the entire spectrum of companies shifts over time. Therefore, it's a rapid developing market. There's incumbents, there are startups, all kind of organizations are working on it. In the healthcare sector, however, there's a gap. These systems are often expensive because they need beacons in every single corner of the building. We turn that model upside down and we say we use the existing infrastructure and you only need one beacon per device, and that's all. That's the only cost you have, and a beacon is maybe €5.
When coming back to the cost a little bit, so usually implementing an IT solution requires a one-time fee for setting up the solution, to adapt to the location, so to have the whole facility in a register that ensures that when the beacon is sending a signal, you get the right room back. And you were talking about a cookbook. Can you say something a little bit how this deployment idea is caught up in the cookbook?
Yeah, so indeed. Normally our competitor or systems, they need someone from the company coming there to map the building, see where all the rooms are and see how this is made into the system. Our model, our system makes sure that is not needed. By a set of specific instructions, any worker in the company, it doesn't matter if they have no technical skills at all, can download the app on their tablets, can stick the beacon to a device, can enter on the tablets, this is a tablet in a room 4 on the 3rd floor, and can state, this is the beacon you need to track, which is attached to the bladder scan. If you find it, please let me know. And that is a very simple process. It does not need any help from us, but can be done by the nursing home themselves at any time.
And with this setup, you are also not dependent on certain equipment in one building. It could be also leveraged with multiple buildings. So maybe with a large warehouse, so where also the local conditions are maybe different.
Indeed.
So maybe a technical question. So the range of Bluetooth, in particular for low energy Bluetooth, is somehow limited. So in big warehouses, so that can be a problem. So in particular when there is some wall screening. So how do you think on that one? How can you cope with local conditions with make the data capturing quite difficult?
Sammy?
So we encountered a similar problem like this when we actually went out to test, and the solutions which we thought about were that there's inexpensive, also cost effective, let's put it that way, coupling solutions for BLE scanners that can interact with the BLE beacons, which we can send on demand to our clients that find that there's areas that don't have coverage for the BLE signals. So that is something which we have thought about as far as giving this solution on demand for people that find there's areas without coverage.
Yeah, and on top of that, our system is right now a niche solution. It does not cover every single solution out there. We work very well in certain situations, and other situations are maybe not the best for a solution, and that's fine. We have a very specific market in which we are the best.
So many things. So now the hunger for questions is somehow decelerating. So many thanks to the team. Let me mention one thing. I really loved how you found each other. Yeah. So from, let's say, from the background you are having from the university with people from 3 different countries, and how you work together. I could really feel this when I hosted your pitch. And I need to say it was really a pleasure to get in contact with you, to also know a little bit behind the person behind the pitch. So a big thank you from my hand. I really love this mentorship, in particular because of people like you. So with this, I want to hand over to Heiko again. Thank you.
Thank you
as well.
Guys, thank you very much again. Thank you, Armin, for those words. As Bijoy said in his keynote, he said something like, digitalization is team sports. And he is that sure. Because what I learned from Susanne, who told me from the internal chat in order to organize everything here, that every team say high five to the other or great job. And that's the team spirit. And that's the team spirit we need at Bayer, or we need for innovation. And I'm really impressed. And I meant it by heart. As I said, and hopefully Dennis is prepared, I owe you the code for the public voting. There are 4 balls in the lottery. There's 2. Chemometrics, it's NextSense, and last but not least, Medifinder. I did this to prove that we have a ball pit here in the room. Now I provide you with the code for the public voting. Who will be the number 1, even all 4 teams are still and get winners, who will be the number 1 of 577. The code is 73427. I repeat, 73427. And hopefully in the live stream, you have the frame with this 73427, and you can vote now. As far as I know, we have 10 minutes of public voting, while this time you have some teaser videos of all of those 4 tremendous teams that they are pitched in a faster way, their project. You have something like a reminder whom to vote from nil, poor, to 10, exorbitant, or tremendous. I don't know the right wording, to be frank and open, but I think we had to start this with 5 to 10 because every team was really brilliant. So I end here, and we will show you the videos of the teams, and we will show you the videos of the last 3 digital campus challenges, and hopefully the version of 2021 will be analog with 3-dimensional in people here in Leverkusen for the moment.
Hello everyone, I am Suhil Shangari and I am from Team Days 2. I and my teammates are from India. We are very excited to participate in the Digital Campus Challenge Finals being organized by Bayer. So the theme for the challenge that we chose was artificial intelligence and machine learning. We identified that mental health issues and depression are rising and they are cause of concern. So we have found a digital solution to diagnose those early and help the people. So we'll be presenting our idea on 2nd of December. We look forward to see you over there at the final event.
Hey, do you know that 458,000 women die of breast cancer each year? And the diagnosis process is slow, expensive, and very invasive.
1 in 3 death cases from breast cancer could be prevented with early diagnosis. What if I tell you that we developed an easy, faster, cheaper, less invasive method to solve this problem using only a blood sample in statistical models?
They will show you a preview how the interface works. Let's go!
Every 2.8 seconds,
someone in the world dies of sepsis. Sepsis is the body's overwhelming and life-threatening response to infection, which can lead to tissue damage, organ failure, and death. Mortality rates range from 15 to 30% globally. While 80% of sepsis cases start outside the hospital, there are currently no detection or prevention methods for outpatient settings. Introducing NextSense, a startup dedicated to providing personalized medicine for early sepsis detection and patient empowerment. The NextSense system utilizes digital therapeutics to reduce sepsis morbidity and mortality. Through prevention, intervention, and education, NextSense helps patients throughout their journey, before, during, and after sepsis.
Being a nurse is incredibly rewarding, but also very hard work. Extremely long shifts are no exception. And on top of that, they spend up to 20% of their time finding necessary medical equipment all over large facilities. To solve this problem, we created MediFinder. MediFinder is an IoT-based solution that tracks medical equipment inside nursing homes using existing infrastructure. This saves time and costs, but most importantly, improves the quality of care given to the patients. Curious how we aim to bring healthcare to the next level? We would love to tell you more about that in the final.
The future of our organization, the future of every organization, is innovation. And innovation comes from the minds of the greatest, the most creative.
We are here today at the Digital Campus Challenge, and we invited the 7 finalists to present their projects and to hear what are their ideas, how the digital future in health and nutrition looks like.
So it was really amazing to have them here today, physically shake hands and see how they performed on live stage.
It was really a nice atmosphere, it was really chill.
There were brilliant minds here today in Leverkusen. They left me speechless.
Great minds, great ideas.
We've got some fantastic ideas on offer, and bringing them closer to Bayer, closer to our customers, closer to the countries, the communities that we attempt to serve is clearly fantastic for the advancement of science and for a better life.
So we look forward.
Definitely, we're looking forward to the next DCC.
You know, we're here as leaders to develop future leaders. What we saw today on stage, some of these young adults and individuals bringing their best ideas forward out of over 300 applications, this is super important, right? We need to get engaged, and this is our future generation and workforce. You can see in their faces the passion for what they're doing and how they're describing it and hitting a particular need that they see.
We pitched our idea was a pacifier with a sensory technology inside, a sensory unit inside. So the idea is the saliva goes through the silicone, through capillars, reach the sensors, and through this touching of the saliva and the sensors, properties of the saliva would be measured, and diseases could be early recognized. You had people from all over the world with totally different ideas, and we got a chance to listen to it.
Our project was called My Code, which our aim was to make clinical data accessible to you and for you. So we designed a wearable biomarker detection device and a My Code smartphone application and a complementary online website.
I feel this is a very good opportunity for me to also meet different type of people which are doing biotechnology, a major that I always love to study all this time. So I really feel this is a very good opportunity to also meet different people in the same industry.
We were very satisfied because we didn't think we'd make it even into this round, and to come to Germany to pitch for you guys, we're just very happy.
It was very impressive, some very professional pitches.
and I saw also lots of diversity. Very impressive how they presented their ideas, and when we look now for new talents outside, we have now a good impression that we have a great pipeline there waiting for us.
Digital Campus Challenge is really, I would say, a very inspiring activity of Bayer. And it's really amazing for us to get in touch with these young people with their ideas they have and their innovative ideas.
Today we had the final round. We had a great preparation of 3 teams. Out of 319, it was outstanding to see how they got prepared from Singapore, from France, from Germany, and they come with all details and give us a lot of deep insights for the auditorium and could answer questions. That was brilliant to see how good they're prepared and how deep they're in the topics.
We actually found out there's lots of people dying, especially children, because of falsified drugs being sold in different countries for a really high price. Our basic idea is to implement blockchain technologies in supply chain management so that we could enable our end customers to know what's going on and to know if the drug they're consuming is a good one or not, basically. That's a basic idea for us.
Our idea is to develop a smart socks for monitoring of diabetic foot ulcers. So diabetic foot ulcers is a common problem faced by diabetic patients, and we aim to help diabetes patients by developing a better way of wearable device to help them monitor their health.
The guys are showing us their passion and have so much hope into the future. So we at Bayer, we tend to be a little bit conservative. So we have more or less risks in common which hinder us from really go for a breakthrough idea. And these guys are free of this, so they think about the success factors first and later on about the risk involved.
Me and my friend, we decided why not, let's do this, and it's really exciting to do something and something really innovative.
We are really happy to be there, but at the beginning when we send our PowerPoint, we don't believe because we do it like quickly, and but we really like our ideas. So I think that's why we are here, is because we managed to show what was the idea, what the potential of the idea.
Our mentor was really nice. He brought us around, so that was really good. And we were really introduced to Bayer as an organization, and overall it was a very enjoyable experience.
I'm very super proud because with half of the advertising budget of the previous year, we have the same amount of participants. That's really super, and so this means to me that the Digital Campus Challenge as a format is arrived.
Cool. So guys, we were good in time, but we need 1 or 2 more minutes because we are totally overwhelmed by the numbers of people that joined the public voting. So be frank and open. My great colleague, Marley, has to arrange it because, as I told you before, and it's now the moment to tell you all in the live stream, we have the public voting, and we have the voting of the judges and mentors, and we have to combine both values and votes. So that's the reason why I have to beg you for patience for around about, let me say, 1 or 2 more minutes, and because we prepared something for the winner number 1 of 577 teams, and we want to give them the stage and the room. So then you have to wait for a few seconds. And I have a view to the door here in the Corona pandemic regulated room that my colleague come in and will tell me, we have a winner. We have a top of the pops. We have an icing on the cream. And you have to be waiting with me. Because patience is one of my core competencies. If I tell this, my colleagues, they will all laugh. But that's a different story. And I even wear my award jacket. And I'm very happy that I don't have to bore you any longer. And it was more than 1,027 votes. And I'm really, really impressed. Come in. You can come in? Okay. And now, after waiting longer than expected, but we were good in time, the winner is top notch, the icing on the cake. And I have a second look and I can read her handwriting. This year's winners of the Digital Campus Challenge 2020 is the Chemometrics from Brazil. So let's go to them again. So maybe they're so overwhelmed that they're still on mute or hugging each other or yet very fast on the bar. I don't know. This could be the chance for this year's winner, the Chemometrics, to say a few words or to show how happy they are. This is the last call for the winning team, but maybe, as I said, they have no smartphone and they cannot give us a few words from the bar. So then it's my part. I have prepared something really analog for the end. The most analog part of this Digital Campus Challenge. Dear Chemometrics, you were really TG. You were terrific, great, tremendous, groundbreaking. You have really, really earned it. And the brilliant guys that are here with me, and I go to show and give them the stage. These are my colleagues that support me here. I'm happy that I could invite all of my colleagues here to the Creative Garage and on the stage. It was a really great pleasure to work with them, and their support ensured the success. We will decide together with Chemometrics, and hopefully they will get back to me somehow in this year. We will decide afterwards which of the 3 Bayer cities with B matches the best. Should it be Berlin, hopefully in late summer 2021, then we can start the journey together with DFood, the winner of 2019.
I think they're on.
They're on?
Yeah.
So the winners are mute. Maybe there's the possibility for Dennis to bring the Chemometrics to the live stream.
Can I say something?
You can say nearly everything you want.
We are very, very, very grateful for this. We are very grateful for you guys. We're very grateful for Brazil. Obrigado, Brasil! Obrigado! Thank you for everything.
Great. Thanks a lot. Obrigado. Obrigada. And I didn't expect it.